Trump has only one option, and that is to negotiate a settlement. If our defense minister had gone there, he might have said unnecessary things about Pakistan. The RSS, the important spokesperson of the RSS, Bosale, I think, he has said that India should open a back channel with Pakistan. I support that. It is important. But let me ask a question. Why not a front channel? India should promote and develop a constituency in Pakistan that wants good relations with India. The speculation in Delhi is that America has been putting pressure on India for practically signing on the dotted line. And the pressure has been exerted through that the American ambassador Gore, who is working 24/7. Except he boasted that it was the first time since the end of World War II that such a torpedoing was done. Sorry, Mr. Secretary for War, you're getting your history wrong. Dear friends, once again, I am indeed privileged and glad to discuss along with you what is happening under the moon. Now, let us start with the Iran war, or rather, the war on Iran. There is no credible indication of any end to this war as of now. But President Trump has said that there might be a settlement next week, quote unquote. Now, the reason why I said there is no credible indication is that President Trump has said the same thing more than once in the past. But there is a difference this time. He has stated that he has spoken to Hezbollah. You know, the Hezbollah based in Lebanon and Israel. They have been hitting each other. Now, Trump has said that he has spoken to a high official of Hezbollah and, of course, Netanyahu, and that both have agreed to stop firing. Now, this is progress in a way because till now, Trump has been arranging ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. Now, the state of Lebanon, to be correct, was of course being attacked by Israel, but the state of Lebanon was not fighting back. So it is important that Trump spoke to Hezbollah, and I do compliment him for taking that action. Now, why did Trump speak to Hezbollah? That is because Iran threatened to suspended the negotiations going on between Iran and the United States through written messages pass through the intermediary, the mediators, in this case, Pakistan and probably Qatar. Because Iran said if the attack on Lebanon stroke Hezbollah continues, then there is no point in talking. Now, can we take the President Trump's claim of a ceasefire between Hezbollah and Israel seriously? We still do not know, because Netanyahu came out with a tweet saying that he had a conversation with President Trump, and he has made it clear that Israel has a right to defend itself if attacked and all that. So let us see. Now, basically, Trump has been riding two horses, or trying to ride two horses at the same time. One horse is diplomatic negotiations. The other is threaten the resumption of war, or even resume war. Now, if you ride or try to ride two horses at the same time, perhaps you are likely to fall. Now, it is my view that Trump has only one option, and that is to negotiate a settlement. Why? Because if he starts the war, then Iran can withstand the attacks by United States and Israel for weeks and months. Now, let me ask you, everybody talks about the looming midterm elections in November. Isn't there an earlier date? What about the 4th of July, when America will be celebrating 250th anniversary? What about that? Do you think that Trump can afford to have a war raging with the possibility of body bags coming when he is celebrating the 250th anniversary? Incidentally, he wants to have his photograph on a new dollar note. It seems that he needs the permission of the Congress. But he is ready. His photograph is ready. Let's see. So that is that. Now, one more point. And that is, I said that Iran might be able to withstand and also cause serious damage to the oil installations and water desalination plants in the GCC. That is another point also, is that it is very likely that the Houthis in Yemen, they will blockade, that strait called Bab el Mandeb in entrance to the Red Sea. And from there, you can go to Suez Canal, the ships. And this strait is between Yemen on the one side and on the other side, African side, we have Djibouti and Eritrea. Now, Bab, B-A-B, means gate. And Mandeb means lamentation. Lamentation. Why? Because in the past, many ships got sunk there and people died. Now, let's just uh, let's move on to another topic, the Shangri-La security dialogue held in Singapore recently. It was held in a hotel called Shangri-La. We also have a hotel in Delhi called Shangri-La, but it is organized by IISS, International Institute of Strategic Studies, based in London. It's a pretty old one, established in 1958. I have high respect for them because they come out with solid papers. But I should share something with you. When in 2003, President George Bush Jr. wanted to attack Iraq, he claimed that President Saddam Hussein was holding WMD, weapons of mass destruction. And the UK government claimed, if action is not taken immediately, well, Saddam Hussein will use the atom bomb that he had. And can you imagine this IISS? They, after their research, supported President Bush's claim. They came out with a paper. But after Saddam Hussein was overthrown, America sent in, and not only America, but also the IAEA, sent in UN inspectors, more than 1,000. And they couldn't find any fissile material for making a nuclear weapon. So in short, it was the correct expansion of WMD is weapons of mass deception. Weapons of mass deception. Good. Now, let's come back to Shangri-La. India was represented by Defense Secretary Rajesh Kumar Singh, and I consider it was a very wise decision. I'll tell you why. Because if our defense minister had gone there, he might have said unnecessary things about Pakistan. Our defense minister had once said that it was India's intention to break Pakistan into four. He had once said that the IAEA should take over the nuclear weapons of Pakistan. Now, obviously, the defense minister, Rajnath Singh Ji, had not had the time or the inclination to ask his officials, can the IAEA take over nuclear weapons from anyone? So, it is good that he did not go, and Rajesh Kumar Singh did not repeat again and again, as some of our diplomats have been doing. Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism and all that. Now, he did say that, India's interest in maritime security and military operability. So, interesting, important topics. Now, about Pakistan, since I want to make a point. The RSS, an important spokesperson of the RSS, Bosale, I think, he has said that India should open a back channel with Pakistan. I support that. It is important. But let me ask a question. Why not a front channel? Why not India take the initiative to re-establish diplomatic relations at the level of head of mission? Well, Pakistan may refuse. Well, Pakistan gets exposed. It means Pakistan doesn't want to have good neighborly relations with India. Let Pakistan get exposed. But if they agree, then let's have a dialogue with them. Don't say terror and talks don't go together. These are all slogans. And one more matter, visa. We are very stingy in giving visa to Pakistanis. Why not? Let the Pakistanis come to India. Let them see the great progress India has made and compare that with what is happening in their country. India should promote and develop a constituency in Pakistan that wants good relations with India. In fact, the business community will be keen on that because trade has been happening via Dubai. Now, if you get anything from India via Dubai, naturally it will cost more. Okay? So that is that. Now, to go back to Shangri-La, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, his words on China were measured. Why? Because President Trump was there only recently and he had spoken about G2. Question. Everybody talks about China rising. I beg to differ. China has already risen. There are only three great powers: United States, China, and Russia. Russia is not in the same league as regards GDP goes. But in terms of GDP per capita, which is as important as GDP, let's look at the figures. Russia has 18,525 nominal, and purchasing power parity PPP $52,479. So 52,500. China nominal 14,874 and PPP 31,596. Say 31,600. India is long way behind. India is nominal 2,813. PPP 12,964. Rounded up to 13,000. And United States 94,430 nominal. And in the case of the United States, the nominal and the PPP are the same. Now, we all have learned in geometry that in any triangle, two sides put together are longer than the third side. So now Russia and China are always together. Obviously, Russia and China together are geopolitically more powerful than the United States. Now, the American Secretary for War, that's the correct title. If I said defense, I am wrong. He was saying that every country should, raise its defense spending. Now that reminded me, why is he saying it? That is because if countries raise their defense spending, they will buy more weapons and technology from America. And who benefits? The military industrial complex about which President Eisenhower, way back in 1961, in his valedictory address, had warned his compatriots. He said, "Listen, my compatriots, this complex is having an increasing influence on policy making. That should be stopped." Well, they did not listen. In fact, now it is military industrial congressional complex. I say congressional because those who make weapons, they give funding to those who are contesting the election, you see, and get favors from them. And President Trump is the most enthusiastic salesperson for the military industrial congressional complex, MICC. Now, the world expenditure on military expenditure, according to SIPRI, Swedish Institute for Peaceful Research, Swedish Institute, SIPRI, is dollars 2,887 billion in 2025. Now, the top five: United States, China, Russia, Germany, India. Now, this works out to more than 2.5% of world GDP. And how much is the world spending on education? 3.6. So let's look at it. Let us take away 1% from military expenditure and add it to education. So it will be 4.6 for education. Well, that will give us a better, safer, and saner world. I repeat, better, safer, and saner. It will not make the world insecure. And not only that, we call ourselves Homo sapiens sapiens. Sapiens means wise. Sapienza in Latin is wisdom. So we shall merit that title, Homo sapiens sapiens, if we spend more on education. Now, just to go back to Quad for a second, we dealt with it last week. Remember, there was torpedoing of a Iranian ship Iris Dana by a United States submarine, USS Charlotte, 4th of March this year, near Sri Lanka coast, killing 104 human beings, and the rest were rescued thanks to Sri Lankan Navy. Let us salute the Sri Lankan Navy for taking prompt action. Now my question, did India raise this at the Quad meeting when they were discussing maritime security? in the Indo-Pacific, which includes the Indian Ocean, correct? Well, I am told India did not raise the matter. So, are these meetings meaningful? Did Sri Lanka ask India to raise? I don't know. But there was no need for Sri Lanka to ask India. India should have raised it on its own. Incidentally, I must have mentioned it last time. Hexet, he boasted that it was the first time since the end of World War II that such a torpedoing was done. Sorry, Mr. Secretary for War, you're getting your history wrong. It was done in 1982 by the Royal Navy in the Falklands War, and that too was the sixth time after the end of Second World War. You know, Secretary of War, there is an officer historian with the Department of State. You can consult him once in a way. Let's move on to Ukraine war. There is an impression in the West that Ukraine is winning. Well, I'm afraid this is wrong. What? It is true that Ukraine has been able to destroy the oil facilities of Russia in a big way. That's correct. But you know, Putin has decided to strike back, and Russia has asked the foreigners in Kiev, the capital, to get out. So I wouldn't say that. In fact, there is speculation at this moment, only speculation. Apparently, President Trump is not, his health is raising questions. And therefore, Putin is keen to wind up this war as early as possible. Well, if that is so, that will be a good thing. Now, about any war, we should always think of the grim toll. Now, according to the BBC, Russia lost 500,000 soldiers killed. Killed. Now, this is what UK's spy chief and Keist Butler has said. Now, BBC claims that it has the names of 223,539 Russians killed. Now, they didn't mention the number of Ukrainian casualties. There are some figures, but let me make a basic point. When we go to the next world, do we carry our passport with us? It is human beings who are killed by fellow human beings. Let us remember that. So this war, which I call the macabre dance of death, should end not tomorrow, but yesterday. President Zelensky has been a disaster for Ukraine and the rest of the world. He chased the mirage of NATO membership. And President Biden also is guilty because he encouraged Zelensky to chase that mirage, knowing full well that he was not going to get it. Now he has been told formally he's not getting it. And even the EU, he has been told he can have an associate membership. Well, Henry Kissinger, he said long time ago, Ukraine should be a bridge between Russia and Western Europe. Now, a word or two about Indian economy. In trouble, partly because of what's happening in West Asia. But even more before that, it was in trouble because President Trump attacked India economically. We all know that. Now, there is talk of a trade deal between India and the United States going to be completed pretty soon. Well, that will be a good thing because the absence of that trade deal has cost us a lot. Foreign investment has been fleeing and your rupee has been falling. But there is some concern, and the concern, or rather the speculation in Delhi, is that America has been putting pressure on India for practically signing on the dotted line. And the pressure has been exerted through that the American ambassador Gore, who is working 24/7. Now, let us hope that that is not the case, that India will not sign on the dotted line and have an agreement which, of course, gives some concession to the United States. We should, but also the trade deal should take care of our significant interests. I don't want to go into details, but it should. Because in diplomatic negotiations, if you project the impression that you are not going to fight, well, then they will push you into the corner and make you sign on the dotted line. I am of the view that Indian diplomacy is capable of navigating in these perilous waters and reaching the port safely. Let's hope so. Well, on that note, thank you, dear friends. We shall talk to each other soon. If you have any questions or any observations, I suppose it's possible for you to sort of give your comments. Thank you.